Order, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City of Romulus City Council regular meeting for Monday, July 13, 2015. The roll will show that all members are present. Tonight's council meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, agenda. 2, minutes. 3, petitioner. 4, chairperson's report. 5, mayor's report. 6A, clerk's report. 6B, treasurer's report. 7 is public comment. 8, unfinished business. 9, new business. 10, communication. 11 is warrant 15-13, and number 12, adjournment. And a motion would be in order to accept the council meeting agenda as presented.
So moved.
Been motion by Ms. Abdo, supported by Mr. Kraut, to approve the agenda as presented. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Agenda approved.
2A, approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held July 6, 2015.
So moved for July 6th, 2015.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo, for approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held July 6, 2015. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Abstain due to absence.
Okay, Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
2B, approval of the minutes from the special meeting held on Monday, July 6, 2015 at 6 o'clock p.m. This was a study session regarding PA 198 Plant Rehab District for 8111 Middle Belt Road and Brownfield Authority, BRA bylaws, and appointment of new board members.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Ms. Choate, for the approval of the minutes from the special meeting held on Monday, July 6, which was 6 p.m. study session regarding PA 198 Plant Rehab District for 8111 Middlebelt Road and Brownsfield Authority bylaws and appointment of new board members. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Abstain, I was absent.
Okay, Ms. Makowski?
Abstain due to absence.
Okay, Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
There are no petitioners on the agenda. Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Earlier tonight, at 6 p.m., we had a study session concerning the zoning ordinance. And at 6:30, we had a study session regarding the purchase ordinance and first right of refusal to purchase tax foreclosure properties in Wayne County. At this time, I'm going to ask our Reverend Willis to please come up to the podium. Mr. Willis.
Good morning, Mr.
Good
Mayor Pro Tem, and good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Good morning, our clerk and treasurer, and good after. It's bad, Tim. It's bad when you had a tough day. You wanted to stay morning. You don't want to face the afternoon. But good afternoon to all of you. It's good to be here. Thank you, Mr. Barton, for giving me a little of your time. We certainly appreciate that. We're in the midst of doing something special once again, and we need the advice from the council to make that happen. Of course, our mayor, we talked to him about it. He knows a little bit about it already, and glad to have our police chief here because he's going to need his help also. We got this great idea, the Ministerial Alliance, to put on a fitness, health, and faith prayer revival. That's what we call it. Fitness, faith, and prayer revival. We want to do it on the football field. Got an okay from the school to make that happen, which is the football field, and we want to do that August the 8th, which is a Saturday morning. We want to be able to, fitness part of it, we'll start at Marianne Banks Park. We can either walk as a family, you can ride your bikes down Oscar to the park, and then we'll finish up our laps. We want to try to get a good 3 miles of walk or ride in, and the amount you don't get from 5 Point to the football field, you'll walk the rest of that route around the track. And then in the midst of that, there will be prayer warriors there on the football field when you get there. There'll be health screening there from Oakwood. They've already got on board. Inkster Clinic is on board, so we're going to do immunization. We'll do health screening while you're there, all for free. You grab a hot dog after you just walked off a few pounds. You grab a hot dog and put it back on. And then we're going to have. We want to feed about 400 to 500 families, which is gleaners and Forgotten Harvest will be on the field, and we're going to give out food to people that are coming. And while they're there, there'll be people that's coming in, hopefully from other churches and also from the city. We would like to entertain. We'd love to have you come out and just be a part of that great event. We're trying to copy this off of an old Billy Graham revival. It's where we're trying to copy that type of a base where people can come just for prayer. So many times we give people food, but we don't even have a chance to just sit down and talk to them one-on-one and let them know what's going on in their life. We're not trying to get them to join church. We're trying to get them to join love. And so we're looking for prayer warriors. If they would like to come and be a prayer warrior, we have a certain responsibility that you have to go through to be a prayer warrior, but that's what it's going to be. And we are looking to have, ask your advice to let us close Osgood down for that walk from Marion Banks Park, and then we need a chief to let us escort us down. And we'll have some of our deacons from our churches will be at those small intersections like we normally do when we walk from Martin Luther King to block those areas where the cars can't come out. I do have a flyer. If I don't know if I was able to approach the bench.
Sure.
I'm able to approach.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Reverend Willis, why are you passing it out? I think that's a great gesture.
Yes, sir.
What you're doing. I think that's really needed in the community. I know this is really benefit people that normally wouldn't go to get checkup or anything. But this program you're putting together, I think is really nice, Reverend Willis.
Mayor's Brooke is on board with it. We talked to him about it. He's okay with it. I have not sat down personally and talked to him. I'm getting this information secondhand, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. In his office, he's on board with this project. So we're looking to have it come out. We also, anytime preachers come up, they're always looking for something. And we also need some finance. So if anybody have any finance to help us feed the people, not for the program, but for the, we have to buy the money, buy the food from Gleaners, West Harvest will match whatever we're giving out. So if you have some extra change around you would like to help us out with, we'll make sure that it goes to feed the people. And we want to be able to feed them and show love to them. This is a tough time. Prayer is so great because it's universal. You don't have to be a member of anybody's church, any denomination. You can be atheist and still have prayer. So we're looking to do something special.
Make the motion.
You can just imagine one of those Billy Graham concert. That's what we're trying to label this as.
Okay, great. And yes, Ms. Roscoe.
One quick question, Reverend Willis. It says here that you'll have a shuttle, and I'm sure it probably starts from the junior high.
Right.
But I just wanted you to mention that.
Some of the buses from our churches, we are parked. If you want to go to the middle, get to the middle school at about 8 o'clock, 8:30, and we would drive you down to the 5 Point at Marion Banks Park so you can walk back.
Thank you.
That's what I
Thank you. And Reverend Willis, you're looking for a no-fee permit, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Roscoe.
I'll make that motion for no fee permit for the Family Health, Faith, and Prayer Revival on August 8th, 2015.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Kraut, for no-fee permit. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Could I,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go
sorry,
ahead.
let me ask, one of the things we didn't act on was closing Osgood down for the walk and having a police escort. Do we need to do that, make that motion? If so,
Uh,
it was requested
Is
from the Reverend.
chief? Do we need that?
I believe that's was in the no-fee permit request.
Right, that normally
Okay.
come with the,
All right, just making sure.
but I'm glad you brought it up.
If I can, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
what's the time period that the road would be closed? Because, in preparing the permit,
Right.
we need to put
It should-
specify a
it shouldn't
time.
take no more than from about 9 till maybe 10 or less than that, 8:30 to 10. Walk from 5 Point to the middle school. So it doesn't have to be close to full time, just a part where we walk.
So you just want it for 2 hours? Just, okay.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Reverend Willis.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. At this time, the chair gonna recognize Councilman Wadsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. I just have a quick thing to bring up. Everybody knows that back in May, I had my bowl-a-thon for the animal shelter, and the following week, I thanked everybody I could. I forgot a couple people, and the following week, I thanked them people too. It was brought to my attention that I forgot to thank the Romulus, it's the Hardware and Ron Copus, and I feel bad about that because the Copus family, since I've been dealing theirs going back to 1968 with Mr. Copus, who was the original owner, and I dealt with his son, Tony Copus, and now Ronnie Copus. Romulus Hardware has been good to the city of Romulus, and they've been good to the Friends of the Romulus Animal Shelter. And I always tell the story about back in the early 1970s when the Sheriff's Department at St. Aloysius Church used to have dunk a deputy, and we used to put a big bow and arrow to our hat and get in the dunk tank. Well, Mr. Copus, and I called him Mr. Copus because he was a senior to me and he had gray hair, but he would give us the big suckers that we'd give to the kids that would pay to dunk a deputy. And I apologize for not bringing up Ron's name because he's been there since day one with the Romulus Animal Shelter, and I appreciate the whole Copus family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wadsworth. I would like to just read off, sometimes I get some calls from residents that like to keep them updated on some household hazardous waste collection times. And this is sponsored by Wayne County Household Hazardous Waste Collections. The date for that is August the 15th. Is at the Westland Shopping Center located on Warren Road in Westland. And I'm gonna give you some of the things that, examples of acceptable items. Household paint, stains, dyes, floor wax, floor care products, carpet cleaners, furniture polish, bathroom cleaners, stain removers, pharmaceutical waste, nail polish, glue, fertilizer, lawn and garden chemicals, pesticides, antifreeze, motor oil, gasoline, propane tanks, automobile batteries and dry cell batteries, fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, and if you have any other thing that you have some questions on, I'm gonna give you a number to call and if you have any questions. And the number to call is, and this is for Wayne County residents only, area code 734-326-5708. Again, that number is 734-326-5708. That concludes the chairperson's report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to accept your report.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Makowski to accept the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Crouch?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved. Thank you.
Number 5 is the mayor's report, and presenting the mayor's report is the Chief of Staff, Bob Dickerson. And Mr. Chair, I just want to note here, we have a request from the public to speak on line item 5A. So under the report, we do have,
Line on 5A?
on 5A, under the mayor's report.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, do you want the resident to speak, or do you want us to present?
You want her, the resident to speak first, or you want
It's
to?
your
Resident, would you like to speak first, whoever it is?
We have Virginia Williams.
Okay, Ms. Williams? Okay.
Good evening, council, clerk, treasurer, and Mr. Dickerson, chief of staff. My name is Virginia Williams, and I just have one question because different residents have asked me about under 5A. Will any of the taxpayers' money, DDA or the TIPA money, go to rehab this building at 8111 Middle Belt?
Mr. Keys?
At this point, you don't have a plan in front of you. This is actually just the creation of a district, which will, if we choose to, when we move forward, can be, and quite frankly, the district is the entire city. So what we're asking for, I probably should take a step back. Back in 1998, the Romulus City Council approved the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority in 5 members at a meeting in July. Since it's been so long, I'm actually bringing the same resolutions back, but new board members, and reinstituting the district so that we could try to use it for 8111 Middle Belt. At this point, we haven't really looked at their plans and made a determination of how the funding is going to go. That'll be brought to this board at a different meeting. But typically, a brownfield redevelopment is similar to a TIF or a DDA, that increments are used to fund portions of the project that are approved by this board. I'm not sure if that, does that answer your question?
So is this a private corporation or individual?
PackSpec is a company out of, and it's a specialty packaging company out of Ecorse and Warren. They're consolidating both their facilities, bringing it to a dilapidated, abandoned building on the corner of Middle Belt and Smith Road. For us, what it is, it's a nice opportunity to take a building that's been vacant for 8 to 9 years, bring some new life in it, and this company now will start paying taxes. They're bringing their 86 jobs, plus they're going to create 50 new jobs.
Okay, so will the city own the building?
No,
or-
no, this is privately held property.
So will they reimburse the city for whatever funds they spend on this property?
Now, the way a Brownfield Redevelopment Authority works is they invest their money on the cleanup, the rehabilitation, or the demolition, the cleaning of the blight, whatever it may be, under the terms of the act. And the city and this company negotiates which portion will reimburse them for what they spent on. For example, if there's an environmental cleanup, which this one it doesn't have, but if there's an environmental cleanup and they spend $100,000 on environmental cleanup, we could agree to reimburse them for that with increments in the future. But it's part of a negotiated process, and we haven't gotten to that point.
And I ask because it's better to ask so you'll know than just assume. So thank you so much, Mr. Keys, for clarifying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you, Mr. Keys. Council, good evening, Mr. Chair, council members, Madam Clerk, Madam Treasurer, audience. The mayor asked me to give his report tonight in his absence, and there's 2 items of business. Item number 15A is a request to approve the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and the first one is the request to approve the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority bylaws, okay. I knew there was, the authority was second, so the authority bylaws. Which at the last study session, Mr. Keys gave a presentation on the Brownfield Authority.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes, Ms. Makowski.
I'll make the motion, and I think there's going to be a modification as well for the bylaws, and that's to remove Article 2, Section 9, participation by communication equipment. That will be stricken. That's on page 2. So the motion is to approve the bylaws, striking Section 9. Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Makowski, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to approve the resolution amending and reinstating the bylaws of the Romulus Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, striking Chapter 9. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, Council. The next item is the approval of the appointments to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and the following persons are being recommended for your approval. Randy Moffett for a 3-year term, Dean Trudeau for a 3-year term, Julie Allison for a 1-year term, Jeffrey Mansfield for a 2-year term, and Daryl Jamison for a 2-year term.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Abdo.
I'll make the motion to approve the following appointments of Randy Moffett, Dean Trudeau, Julie Allison, Jeffrey Mansfield, and Daryl Jamison to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Abdo, supported by Ms. Choate, to approve the following appointments: Randy Moffett, Dean Trudeau, Julie Allison, Jeffrey Mansfield, and Daryl Jamison to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority with a term to expire January 13th, 2018.
Just for clarification, Mr. Chair, may I have the motion say with the terms as described in?
With the terms as
With the-
described.
oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with terms as described. Ms. Abdo,
Yes.
Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, council. That's the mayor's report.
Thank you.
6A is the clerk's report. Under 6A1, 6A1 is a request to schedule a public hearing for PacSpec's request to establish a plant rehab district in accordance with the Plant Rehabilitation Industrial Development Districts under Public Act 198 of 1974, as amended for the property located on 8111 Middle Belt Road.
So moved for July 27th at 7 PM.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Makowski for the public hearing, July 27, 2015, 7 p.m. Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Makowski.
Yes.
Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
6A2 for first reading is zoning ordinance text amendments, section 3.06C, commercial vehicles, section 8.02, gas and oil wells, vehicle dismantling, wrecking, recycling, and sales of parts, and section 21.02, enforcement.
Chair,
Yes, Ms. Roscoe.
I'll make that motion for first reading of zoning ordinance text amendments, section 3.06C, commercial vehicles, section 8.02, gas and oil wells, vehicle dismantling, wrecking, recycling, and sale of parts, and section 21.02, enforcement.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, first reading of zoning and ordinance text amendments, section 3.063, 6C, commercial vehicles, section 8.02, gas and oil wells, vehicle dismantling, racking, recycling, and sale of parts, and section 21.02, enforcement. Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Makowski.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
6A3 is a alley vacation request. We do have a request to speak on this agenda item from the petitioner, Sharon Barrera. And Ms. Barrera, if you're here, can you come to the podium, please?
Thank you very much. Good evening to all.
Can you use the mic, Miss? Yes, kind of diagonal.
I've never been up here before. This is my first time coming to a meeting, so forgive me if I'm
It's
saying
okay.
something wrong.
Yeah.
But thank you all very much for letting me ask. I just have a couple of questions about this alley vacate. According to a couple ladies that I talked to today, we didn't have enough signatures on our petition that we went around, my husband and I went around and had signed. Some of them were renters, and they didn't tell us that they were renters, and I don't, like, we've never done it before, so we didn't even know to ask. So if this does get denied, is it something that we can redo? I mean, you know, can I get some kind of contact from the owners of the property so that we can, you know, get the petition signed correctly?
You want to address that, Ms. Braggs, or,
You can do that.
Well, and I'm going to refer to Councilwoman Choate as far as past practice. I believe that she would have another opportunity to file another petition. I don't know if there's anything that says that that you couldn't. But I'd just like to just double check that with Councilwoman Choate, just as far as past practices.
Choate?
If I may, through the chair. Yes, you may do that. You already have some signatures, I think, and we have a map of the lots that you didn't get a signature on.
Right.
So we can extend the time. There's no really time frame for submitting a petition. So you can extend this and continue on with gathering your signatures. And maybe you should ask them for, I don't know, if you want to ask them for ID. Or ask them if they are the property owner.
We definitely will now, for sure.
What's
Right.
So I think they can.
John?
Did you have
Yeah.
something to say, Mr. Wadsworth?
I would, maybe we should just table the item and,
Postpone,
postpone or table.
not table, postpone.
All right, don't
Or just take
approve
no
or deny
action,
it.
but let her continue
Yeah,
on.
I wouldn't approve or deny it.
Yeah.
Either postpone or table the item.
You don't want
Miss-
to table.
I'm sorry. I think you need to take action on it and then let her start all over again with this process so that she's clear on what she has to do, because you can't just kind of let it just keep pending here. As far as, the time, I believe you need to take action, and then she can come back in, and then we could start all over. She's already paid her fees, but then she can start over with a new, a new petition, gathering the signatures, and I think that would be in her best interest, not to go against what you're saying, but sometimes when you're tabling, postponing, and bringing things back, I think it's just clear to do it that way, and then we can guide her through the policies and the steps moving forward.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
So, you're saying we should deny this?
This one, right, this
Well, why
particular
should we
petition.
deny it? Just, if the process is gonna continue, just table it, and if she comes back with the proper stuff, then we can bring it back on the table. Once we turn her down, maybe we've done something that's irreversible here. I don't know. Well, okay.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, since the council hasn't taken action on the item yet, if the circulator wants to withdraw it at this time and then resubmit the proper application,
Withdraw.
I think that might be the
Might be
best
better.
route.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
we could do that.
yes,
Is
Ms.
that
Ross?
something?
Does that mean I have to pay again?
No.
No.
Then sure, I would do whatever.
That's what I'm trying to make sure it doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, right, I appreciate that.
Here in 6 months and you gotta pay again, I think
Right.
that would be unfair.
No, we wouldn't charge her
Well, I
again, she
hope,
said.
what we say now and what happens in the future, who knows?
Ms. Roscoe had something to say.
I think that would be the best thing is to withdraw it, because we don't want to put a negative effect out there for you with the rest of your neighbors.
Right.
We don't want them to think that we were against what you're doing.
Right.
We're totally biased until you bring all your information here and your signatures, and, we have a public hearing and so on and so forth. So I think that would put out a negative attempt for you.
Right.
If we deny it. But if she withdraws it, then it's just, you just need more information. You need to put more things together for us to be able to process it correctly.
Okay, that's fine with me. And one more question, if I may. On that map that has the block highlighted, mine was highlighted that they sent me by email. The block, is that, because I'm on Delano, between Delano and Grant. Is that where I'm supposed to stay within that area, or do I go on up?
Oh, it's the whole alley from end to end.
So it's the end to end? Okay, because we didn't know that. We just did our little,
I see what you're
Pew.
talking about.
behind us, and that's all we thought we had to do.
Okay.
So we have to do the whole entire street,
Right.
both sides, Delano and Warman. Is that what it's?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure, that way I know I get as many as I need.
And,
Go ahead, Ms. Cho.
Mr. Chairman, and you need to find out how many property owners are on that block in total, so that you know when you get at least 50%, more than 50% of them, of their signatures.
Okay, very good, I will. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
You're welcome.
So then, with this item, Someone would like to entertain a motion just to withdraw this from,
there a motion?
make that motion.
from the agenda.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Makowski, for withdrawal of the motion. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
All right, 6A4. And this is the 2015 first right of refusal to purchase tax foreclosed property in Wayne County dated July 2nd, 2015. The Property Disposition Committee met on July 8th and again on today, July 13th, and respectfully request that the City Council concur on the following recommendation. The City of Romulus does not wish to purchase any of the properties included on the Wayne County Treasurer's 2015 first right to purchase tax foreclosed property in and on the Wayne County list.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I
Ms.
make the
Choate.
motion that we concur with whatever you just said.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Ms. Makowski, for the city, Romulus wishes, does not wish to purchase the Wayne County properties, including Wayne County Treasurer's 2015 first right of purchase tax foreclosed property in Wayne County. Mrs. Choate,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
The last item under the clerk's report is 6A5, and this is for first reading of the amendments to Chapter 39, Sections 39.2, 39.8, 39.11, 39.12, and 39.13 of the purchasing ordinance.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. First reading of amendments of Chapter 39, Section 39.2, 39.8, 39.11, 39.12, 39.13, the purchasing ordinance.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut. First reading on amendments of Chapter 39, Section 39.2, 39.8, 39.11, 12, 39.13, purchasing ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Ms. Makowski.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you. That concludes the clerk's report. 6B is the treasurer's report.
Good evening, council, mayor, clerk, deputy clerk, and the audience. As you know, tax bills went out, and I just want to remind everyone, if you have not received it, or if you have any questions, you can contact my office. Also, for those of you that have a mortgage, I just want to remind you that those bills, a copy of those bills, have been forwarded to the mortgage company. So, again, if you have any questions, please call my office at 734-942-7580. Thank you.
Number 7 is public comment, and this is the portion of our meeting that allows the opportunity for those in the audience to address council with your comments. If you'd like to do so, please raise your hand, and after you have been acknowledged by the chair, approach the podium, and please state your name, your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. We do have one request to speak. Written request. This is from a Howard Bruce, and also, I believe, our police chief, Director of Public Safety, J.D. Settles, is also requested to speak.
Okay. Mr. Bruce? Mr. Bruce, you may come up to the audience, please. Podium.
My name is Howard Bruce. I live at 9361 Tobine in Romulus. Can I begin?
Sure,
Okay.
Mr. Bruce.
On the 10th, which was only 3 days ago, Friday the 10th, somebody at the corner of Wick and Tobine Road started shooting off fireworks at 9 o'clock. It went on incessantly until 11:15. I have a small dog who I love dearly, and she's perfect in every way. But she's terrified of thunder. And these fireworks rocked the building. Now, there are 100, 200 people, 200 residences around where I live. I finally just couldn't take it anymore, and I jumped up and I run outside, and I'm just throwing a fit. I mean, I'm cursing them and yelling and telling them to stop it or else. Now, I didn't threaten anybody, and I don't even know if they heard me because, you know, they're 3, 4 houses down. Okay, what I am about to say is I would like the council, I would appreciate it if they would, to pass an ordinance with at least a minimum of $1,000 fine and 90 days, up to 90 days in jail. Class C, I don't mind. I know fireworks. These are not Class C. They were Class B. And they shot well over, incessantly, one right after the other. And they shot off, I know, in excess of $1,000 or $2,000 worth of fireworks. If they can afford that, they can afford a $1,000 fine, make them pay for making life miserable for everybody. There's old people, there's babies, there's sick people, there's people that just want the decency of a peaceful evening. And they didn't get it that night. And they were not Class C items. I don't mind Class C items. Class C items, I could put a Class C fireworks maximum is 50 milligrams, federal law. I could put it in my hand and let it go off and it would sting. If you put those fireworks off that they were shooting, it'd blow your hand off. And now, I don't know the law now, but I do know what they passed 30, 35 years ago. And then, if you had, it was a maximum of 5 years in prison plus a large fine. So, I would like to have somebody, your people, look into it that knows the law far better than I do, they're lawyers, et cetera, et cetera. I would like some kind of a, you know, where they can shoot it off on maybe New Year's Eve or 4th of July, I don't mind that, but constantly they shoot it off. And I'm sure that some of the people on that council, if not all of you, know what I'm talking about. These people have no consideration for other people. And they should confiscate, they should go over these people's houses, and they will be called, and confiscate what they have, and send it, and I believe, I'm not sure on this, but I think it's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Send it to them, and perhaps they'll want to pursue the matter further. Okay, and I thank you very much for listening to me. Okay, are there any questions you'd like to ask?
Mr. Barton?
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth.
Just a quick comment. Mr. Bruce, we do have an ordinance. It's 5 days for the main holidays, day before and the day after. But you know, you really can't regulate people that have no self-respect for others. Unfortunately, you can't. You know, I've got a dog I have 2 dogs that were petrified during the 4th of July. They spent down in my basement, and they didn't come up other than take them out to go to the bathroom on a dog leash.
They're terrified.
And it's really sad that they do look at us as old and stupid and go back in your house, and that's terrible. That's not, you know, it's people have no respect. It's really saddens me. It's unfortunate. We got to blame our state legislators that pass these laws and let them buy these ridiculous bombs and hand grenades and rockets and whatever the hell they shoot off for hours after hours. It just shows that, and you know, there's no respect for your neighbors. And it's sad. It's sad, and I feel for you, sir. I really do.
May I say something, sir?
Sure.
The state cannot supersede the federal government.
But the state passed a law to allow them to bring, because we were losing business to Ohio. They were worried about the almighty tax dollar more than
I know,
more than peace and
I
quiet
feel
for
the
you.
same way you do.
They weren't thinking about you on Tobin or me on Barth.
But
They were worried about the almighty tax dollar, so the bigger, the better, the more tax we can put on them. It's unfortunate.
It's totally illegal to shoot
It's not
off
illegal
class.
what they're shooting off. It's not illegal no more.
Listen,
It's
let me
not
finish
illegal.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's totally illegal to shoot off. It's totally illegal to possess. It's totally illegal to manufacture Class B fireworks unless you have a federal license.
Whatever they're shooting off is bigger than what they used to shoot off. I don't care what class you put them in, but
Well,
they're
I
bigger.
see, but you should know. And not you, but the people of this city.
We did
should
pass
know.
an ordinance that only allows it 5 times a year on major holidays. If there was, but that doesn't help you when you're trying to sleep.
The only thing these people respect is power, and power in the sense that if you shoot it off, we're going to issue you a ticket, and you're going to pay a $1,000 fine with a possibility of 90 days in jail. I know nobody's going to get that, but the threat of it. Now,
If they're lucky, they'll live long enough as we have, and maybe someone will come along and do the same thing to them, unfortunately. It's terrible, but it's true.
well,
Yes, Ms. Page?
Hi. So my question is, obviously they weren't within the ordinance because you're out of that time frame. So Mr. Bruce could have called the police department. They could have went out. I'm just walking through this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. They could have went out and they could have issued a ticket. Am I correct? Because they weren't within.
That's correct, and that's why I was going to speak to that point, that if he would have called the police and they sent a car, and they caught them in possession of them, shooting them off beyond what the ordinance says, and Mr. Wadsworth, you're correct, it's one day before and one day after, and the day of the 4th of July. So any resident who hears, loud fireworks the day before or the day after the 4th, contact the police department, and if they catch them in the act, they can cite them for doing so.
sir, I'm 77 years old. I've lived in Romulus since 1947, and I have never once called the police. I don't want to throw that burden on the taxpayers. The police don't know me. They never have. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I think I am. Anyway, I don't want to call the police, but I'm going to. Every time a fireworks goes off, and I don't know how much it costs, maybe $50, $100 for every time a car has to make a run. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that burden put on the taxpayer. That's why I don't call the police. Even that night, I had to call up Alan Hinman, and I know you all know him, to ask the number of the police department, because I didn't even know.
It's 911.
You see what kind of person I'm trying to tell you I am. And if it comes to that, it comes to that. That is just all these years, and I've had my problems, but I get along great with my neighbors. I always have, and I respect them, and they respect me. But this is just something I'm not going to tolerate without putting up a fight.
Ms. Abdo, you had some?
Yes. Mr. Bruce, we appreciate the person you are, and we encourage you to call the police department if this happens again. I have a grandson that lives with me, and the boys in my neighborhood are setting off firecrackers all sorts of times. I'm going to start calling the police.
I was
Because it
told
wakes
by
them
one.
up.
I was told by one gentleman out in the hall that 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, we need to call the police. Switch your,
Thank you very much.
thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person requesting to speak is our Public Safety Director, J.D. Settles.
Yes, Mr. Shuttle.
Good evening, Chief of Staff, Council, Treasurer, Clerk's Office. How you guys doing this evening? I'm going to speak a little bit about the traffic complaints that we've been getting on Beverly Road. About maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, Councilman Wadsworth, he brought to council that there were some complaints about the trucks. So I know, fast forwarding to today, I know that there was a letter that was tendered by Mr. Pilot that lives over off Middle Belt. Myself, former Director of Public Safety, John Leacher, we both have dealt with Mr. Pilot in the past, and I think last year also Mayor Burkhoff met with Mr. Pilot. I also brought today Mr. Petrula to kind of expand on history about Beverly Road, the trucking situation. So if Mr. Petrulla, can you come up with me, please?
Hi, Bill Petrulla. The complaint we got is from Joe Pilot. He lives on Middle Belt. I don't. I mean, he's handicapped. He had a stroke about 4 years ago. And he sleeps during the day and up all night. Mr. Simcoe called me about 4 years ago and said he was on emergency call. He picked him up, and he was in the bathtub, and he had emergency. He was in the hospital for about 6 months. So, in the meantime, I own the building next to him on Middle Belt. And we've been trying to buy this for the last 7 years, the house, and because he's going to move to Florida before the accident. And but he cannot sleep. I guess the traffic on Middle Belt's bad for him, and he hears the trucks, and he thinks they're going down Beverly. So we kind of help him. We take care of the snow for him. We cut the grass for him. He's a long friend, friend of ours. So we just want to let you know.
When Councilman Wadsworth brought that complaint to City Council, I had my traffic sergeant, Roger Sauer, tender a letter to some of the businesses located on Beverly Road to try to address, some of the traffic during certain hours of the night. Those businessmen contacted Bill Petrulla, and me and Mr. Petrulla had a conversation, at which time he gave me some history about the tax assessment, and I think if I remember correctly, you guys put some money together to help get Beverly
Yes,
Road.
he did. When Mr. Oakley was in, he had the road. Probably some of you know about it, but we ended up paying for the road. So we own mostly acreage, so if you have, what he set it up when El Dennett and them guys were here, it was set up that if I own 400 feet wide, 2,000 feet deep, and divided by 7, and that's what I paid for 20 years for the road. So all of us agreed to that, and we still got to pay until 2020. So we got 5 more years left on the road. So.
What kind of money are you guys spending on the road?
Well, it starts out like some of the the bigger acres we got. Starts off like 10,000 a year. The next year it's 9,000 a year. Next year, and that's everybody like that.
And this money was mainly so that the trucks could travel down
Right.
Beverly Road.
We ended up went from an asphalt road to a 3-lane concrete road, and because most of the area is MT2 over there for truck traffic. And I did go and talk to some of the people. Extra Lease is owned by Warren Buffett. Extra Lease told me that they would try to get some of the traffic to go out Inkster Road. So we're trying to help them out.
Mr. Barton, if I can just comment, and I've talked to Mr. Pilot, Bill, and
Oh, did you? Okay.
he's very complimentary of you of what you've tried to help him with too.
Okay.
I know he's in a situation that is far from perfect for him, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Pilot's home been soundproof?
I don't know if it has or not from the airport, because the airport went around and at that time was soundproof and everything down Beverly Road. So, yeah, back in.
He was in the flight path when they started that. There's not about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it has been or not.
So I guess pretty much the reason why I wanted to bring Mr. Petrulla here today is
You
this
should mute the mic.
truck traffic. Not gonna go away.
No.
Unfortunately, Mr. Pilot just he's caught up in a bad situation.
Well, with, you're handicapped like that, and you sleep all day, and then you're up all night, you hear stuff coming down Beverly, on Middle Belt. So, there's 64,000 cars, vehicles come down Middle Belt Road. It's a county road. So, nothing I can do. It's county.
There's not much the police department can do if they're not speeding or overweight.
No.
Hands kind of tied.
Any questions, council? No questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Ms. Williams?
Williams. Good evening, staff, Mr. Dickerson, council, clerk, and treasurer. I'm here pertaining to an item that the council voted on May the 11th. Michigan Compel Law, Act 309 of 1925. Do the council, or is the council aware of what the amount is that they'll collect from this levy?
Was in her.
What you talking about?
Any comment on that from Ms. Abdo?
Referring to the tax bill, that 259,
359.
359, no.
The publication.
I wasn't even aware of it, unfortunately, till Sharon brought it up last week.
Mr. Barton?
Yes, Ms. Abdo.
Ms. Williams is referring to what we voted for in the budget, which dealt with communication. It was a $50,000 limit, I believe, Ms. Williams.
Okay, so is the council aware of how much the city will collect in a calendar year from the residents of Romulus and businesses?
That I'm not, the only thing I was aware of is that we are limited to 50,000, am I correct?
And that was our target when we did the budget, was $50,000, because that's the most any city can collect under this act.
Okay, well, I researched some information, and the total amount that the city will actually collect is $50,073.21. That's over the limit.
Yes.
I don't know how to respond to that because we haven't collected it all yet. So I think, as the treasurer said, the tax bills just went out and collections are out there, but the most by law we're going to collect is $50,000. I mean, the finance director's here, and if she can, you want to come up, Suzanne? Thank you.
Good evening. The law actually allows you to collect a maximum of $50,000 a year, but you're setting the millage rate at a time when your taxable value is set, but it does change over time. You have MTTs, you have tax tribunal changes, all of those things that take into consideration. So at the end of the year, during your audit process, and with the final settlement, with Wayne County, that determines whether you've met that $50,000. So if we, by making all of those changes and refund taxpayers if taxable value changes are made, we essentially could collect less than $50,000 because of that. If in fact the millage rate, if we have increases, we actually have to reserve that money into its own separate line item and take that money into consideration the next year when we set the millage, if that makes sense.
So then if you over collect for some reason, then you would under levy in the next
Correct.
collection?
Correct. And that was based on what the auditors had recommended at the time with other communities that have implemented this law.
Ms. Abdo?
So if we over-collect, which Ms. Williams says that we are we in violation of the law?
No, because we haven't collected it yet, right? So
let's say
full
we...
collection is actually March 1st settlement date of every tax year. So by assessing it in July does not necessarily mean by March 1st we're going to collect over, the $73 or whatever it was over.
So if we are, let's say we, as she said, she's projected, we collect 50,000, whatever. We just under-collect the next year, we're not in violation of the law.
Right. It's just like any special assessment. When you try to, you're trying to special assess for a cost that you're anticipating to incur. So there are, there's a delinquency rate, there's uncollectibles that we get charged back from Wayne County every year. So you're basically setting the millage rate on an estimate of taxable value that's determined.
Okay.
So, does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Suzanne.
What does the law say? Because the law says actually it's a limit, and I understand what you
In
just
any
said.
given year.
In any given year.
Yeah.
So if you go over, and I understand you say you haven't collected it, but you're expecting to collect.
No, we never collect 100% of taxes. Ever, in any given year.
That's it. At first I was kind of clear, but now you really confused me.
No, because we have.
I mean, I'm clear that you don't
That's what you
collect,
usually-
because I
usually
understand a
like.
lot of people doesn't pay, you know, their taxes, or maybe they vacated their property. But you have a lot of residents, and the reason why you levied this tax, the council, is because you wanted the taxpayers, you found a loophole or a law that nobody in the city had seen before, and so brought it in front of council. But you did not choose, and not you, because it was the council that voted on it, did not choose to use this same publication to educate the people that this was coming, and that's what a lot of residents are upset about. I understand the council have the vote. I understand that. I accept that. But you have to give an account that when you're taking money out of the residents' pocket, and even the businesses, you have a dual duty to inform them, not once they get the tax bill and then when. No. What I'm saying, because you know as well as I do, a lot of people don't come to the meetings, don't watch the meetings. I'm saying in the newsletter that goes out, it should have been in there, the same thing that this is paying for. I'm just, you know, it would have been fair to the taxpayers to know that when they get their bill receive their bill in July, that this was gonna be on there. It was kind of like a shock. You gotta understand, you got the federal government, you got the state, you got the county, now the city. Where is the people getting this extra money from? And then on down the road, the city may really need to ask the taxpayers to vote, you know, on a millage. Do you really believe that they would? So I'm saying what the law says. You're saying it say something else. You know, that's why a lot of people don't trust, you know, what they see in writing, because it says a limit of 50,000. Now, you saying you're not gonna collect it and it's a bunch of, but I'm asking the council, so it's not against you, Susanna. I'm asking the council just to make sure, because the people are very upset about this. Mr. Wadsworth and Ms. Adams said they wasn't aware of it, but we gotta do better. Because you can't put every situation on the backs of the taxpayers. This $50,000 that the city discovered that they can levy on the taxpayers, why we couldn't just use it out of the general fund? What I'm saying is why they couldn't use the money that was in the general fund. In the previous administration, Mr. Lambert, our former mayor, did a newsletter, and it was not on the backs of the taxpayers, our extra tax. This tax is there for the rest of our life as long as we live in Romulus? Anybody know?
Well, it could be taken off of the next budget. Off.
So yearly? So that was approved. So every year you have to go in and, okay. Well, as I said, the main thing is that newsletter that goes out, those type of things should be in that newsletter. Because people want to know what they want to know, not what our elected officials want to tell them. And that's very important. $2 or $3, I know mine went up $3 and some change. But that means a lot to an individual that's already robbing Peter to pay Paul. So just out of respect and out of fairness, you know, the council should make sure that the residents are aware these type of things are coming. Because I have received a lot of calls, and they're thinking it's the treasurer's responsibility. They're thinking the treasurer did this. So I'm here tonight to say, I know myself, it's not the treasurer's department, it's not the clerk's department. Our council voted this in on May the 11th. Whether you remember, whether you read it, it was voted in and approved by the council. Not that I agree with it, but I just wanted to know, was the council aware that that dollar amount was going to supersede the 50,000? And if I could, through some council person, get it in writing where everything that Susanna said or Suzanne said is true? Because the law that I picked up in Michigan Pale Law says the limit is 50,000. So if it's a further law that covers you from doing something else, could I please see that?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We'll have Suzanne and Ms. Williams meet offline to continue this part of the conversation. And I don't want the council to feel as though they were the only ones that supported this. The administration supported putting this onto the taxes, and we felt that we needed to communicate. We learned from our visioning process that we went through last year that the people said they needed communication, they needed to be made aware of what was going on. We brought that to the council in our budget presentation. As the finance director said, it was brought out in 2 study sessions, it was advertised in the newspaper, it was brought out in public forums and so forth. So again, I'm not going to sit here and let the council take the hit on that alone. The administration supported it. We feel it was necessary. We believe we put out a good communication project. We wanted to continue that into the new year. And if times are better next year and we don't need that, then when we come to you with budget, we won't ask for that. But this year, we felt remember the retiree health care buyouts we did, and our cash flow kind of shrunk somewhat, and it was what we felt in good best interest of the people to continue the newsletter and to utilize the legal public act that Suzanne is using, that Westland uses, and other cities use to pay for their publications and advertising. The second point I wanted to make is that Ms. Williams and I don't always agree on things, but we always respect one another when it comes to our differences. And I can assure you that we did the research on this as far as the $50,000. Like Suzanne said, it's an estimate. Just like every mill that we levy in Romulus is an estimate until we don't know what our real taxable value is going to be until everybody pays their taxes or doesn't pay their taxes. And at the end of the year, they do a reconciliation of all the taxes that comes in, and then that's when we get our true numbers, and that's audited by an independent auditing firm that authorizes and approves that. And we met with them during budget about the promotional tax, and they were in favor of it and felt it was a good resource for us to utilize. And let me end on a good note that we got a notice today from Wayne County that the city of Romulus has the lowest city millage of all 43 communities in Wayne County. When it comes to city millage, even with our .1012 promotional millage of $2.15 average per household. To date, we have the lowest city millage of every community in Wayne County by far compared to some communities. But we're number one when it comes to lowest millage and what you get for what you pay for. So again, we're confident and we made a good decision and you made a good decision. Thank you.
And I would like to say this, Mr. Dickerson, we don't agree on everything. I've been here for over 46 years. We may have the lowest millage, but we don't have anything in this city. And everything that we do in this city, we need to do in this city, we have to go outside to other cities, okay? And this has been way before you came here. And I'm not beating up on the council, but I know the council have the vote. That's why I addressed it to the council. I've been very respectful to the council. I'm just bringing it to their attention of questions that have been asked of me. You, yourself, nor the mayor have a vote. So I'm addressing it to those that can vote. So I'm not beating up on them. And I'm sure there are men and women that don't need you to throw no brownie points for them. The other thing, you say that you seen you needed the money. There was, about 2 months ago, since, you want to bring this up. 2-3 months ago, when you were doing the budget, there was $122,000 in contingencies for raises. Why couldn't some of that money be for advertising? You got to remember, it's all taxpayers' money. And even for residents that don't understand, even the federal government money is taxpayers' money. The county, the state, it's all taxpayers' money put in a big pot and utilized, split up, and sent wherever it needs to go. My issue today with the council, I was just asking them a question, not beating up on you, so I don't want you guys to think that. I was only asking you a question because the residents, a lot of them, when they received the tax bill, they was alarmed at that because they wasn't aware of it. And all I said to you as a council members is the next time something like this, and hopefully it don't be a next time, you add that to the newsletter. Plain and simple. Because how long have the newsletter been coming out? Couple months?
About 6 months. A year.
I think I received maybe about 2 or 3. So if that had been in there, then that would have explained, to the residents before they even got their tax bills that it was coming. That's all I'm saying. So again, I say to the council, it was not a witch hunt or to beat the council up, just to bring it to your attention that the residents was not happy about not being informed about it before. And I'm saying in the newsletter that the council voted to put on the taxpayers to pay for, not a meeting, special meeting, or, you know, cable. A lot of residents don't have Comcast. So again, I just brought it to your attention, and I wanted to know about, you know, the amount being over 50,000. So if I can get that in writing, as I said, that would be helpful. Maybe if the treasurer's office have that information,
What exactly did you want in writing?
where if the law says, and that's what's kind of funny, the law says it's a limit of 50,000 in one calendar year. I understand you may not collect that. But after you go over the 50,000, what does the law say?
Okay, so you want something in writing explaining that?
That would help.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
One quick point,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. I just don't
Yes,
want
Mr.
people to think that there was $122,000 for raises. That's the number I heard. What that number was, if you recall, a few weeks ago, you did a budget amendment for monies that we moved from contingency back into the general fund from the Teamster contract that was settled last year, when we did put funds aside for signing bonuses, for buyouts and other things like that. So there was not money in the new budget, $122,000 put away. There was money that you approved in contingency from last budget that we just moved within the past couple months. So I want to make sure that was clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? No more comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll close that part out.
8 is unfinished business.
Mr. Barton?
Yes,
just a
Mr. Wadsworth.
I guess either to Roberto or to Tim or Mr. Dickerson, Goddard Road, is there a completion date we hope somewhere in the future?
I think Roberto has an answer for that one.
Yes, council, good evening. The contractor on Goddard Road is back on track. They're going to finish August 30th with the downtown portion, and they're going to move to the intersection after that. So mid-September is when we hope that the complete...
Should be open
Yeah,
pretty much by September?
yes.
By Pumpkin Festival time? we're-
Downtown will be open by Pumpkin Festival, yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Amen.
Yes, Ms. Abdo.
Yes, my question deals with the grocery store downtown. Do we have any information on that? I know you met with them. That's the most common question I get out there with the community.
This will be kind of convoluted, so if you can.
I'll try to
work with me on
unconvolute
this.
it. Okay.
The banks took it from the former owner, and the banks, through a receiver and the courts, sold it to a gentleman named Jerry Pata, who I think you've all heard that name. Jerry has a number of stores out on the east side of Detroit. He also bought the old Farmer Jack and Wayne. He has invested in Farmer Jack and Wayne, has made a decision that this store, square footage is too small, so he is in the process of selling it to another gentleman named Paul Cato. Paul has a number of stores and restaurants through the Detroit area. Paul is in the process of putting his financing together and transferring the liquor license. So at this point, we hope that he can get his finance piece together, and he is hoping to open up by Thanksgiving of this year.
Well, that's something. Thanks.
Mr. Keys, what's the status on the outlet, the shopping outlet?
Status on the outlet is that they have all their appropriate approvals from the city of Romulus. They have their permits and approvals from the county of Wayne. They have their approvals from the FAA. They're waiting on 2 federal pieces of approval. One would be the curb cut on Vining Road, and the other is the FEMA floodplain issue that is being resolved. FEMA, as you recall, they're saying that FEMA placed a floodplain over that area when in fact, based on engineering, there is no floodplain, so we're trying to get that map revised. I have a series of conference calls tomorrow for Lansing and Washington DC, and hopefully I can get some answers. I don't know when FEMA or Federal Highway plans on sending their approvals. We've been told they're coming, we just don't know which date. The mall will not break ground until they have those approvals in place.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keys.
Is there any more unfinished business? Number 9 is new business.
It's Ms. Abdo.
Yes, excuse me. I'd like to request a council resolution commemorating the 100th birthday of Lieutenant Colonel Russell Wanask. To most of our viewing audience, you probably remember him as Mr. Wanask. Mr. Wanask was a math teacher at Romulus High School for many years. He retired in 1985 at the age of 70, and yes, he was very disgruntled when he retired because he did not want to retire. At that time, the state of Michigan required you to retire. It's since been changed because he probably would have kept teaching till he was 90. So I'd like a commemorative resolution for that.
I'd
And I also-
support that.
Okay, thank you. There's also a birthday reception is going to be held for him August 8th at the Sweet Afton Tea Room in Plymouth, Michigan from 5:30 to 8. And if any of you had Mr. Wanask as a math teacher, we're doing like a birthday card drive. Or if you knew him or your kids had him, you can send the birthday card to the board office, and we're still using that as a central location. And we're going to deliver them all to him at his birthday party. So,
Okay. It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
For resolution for 100th birthday. Is that Mr. Ronat?
it's Russell Wanask.
Russell Wanask.
They call him the Colonel a lot.
The
up
Colonel,
there.
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Number 10 is communication.
Yeah, talk math.
Yeah. Mr. Kraut?
Yeah, I was at Helping Hands last Thursday, and they were telling me a lot of kids are out of school now. There's a lot of people coming in for help, and they're saying what they need is boxed goods like hamburger helper, chili, stuff like that. They need hamburger, hot dogs, bologna, and this is going for the kids that's out of school right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 11 for approval is warrant 15-13.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Choate?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve payment of warrant 15-13 in the following amounts. For general operating fund, $159,869.56. Major street fund, $137,045.06. Local street fund is $10,222.98. Cable is $18,003.45. Merriman Road Special Assessment, $456.89. Street lighting, $43,353.45. Employee activity, $171.93. Sanitation fund, $143. CDGB, $28,899.50. 911 is $8,007.09. Law enforcement, $2,203.67. Narcotics Enforcement Fund, $6,160.91. DDA, $6.83. Tifa District Number 2, $8.12. Water and Sewer, $448,117.87. Motor Vehicle Fund is $56,908.07. Technology Services, $84,462.98. Retirees Insurance Benefits, $29,598.40. Liability self-insurance is $503,977. Revolving fund, $11,275.61. Payroll fund is $138,243.52, for a grand total of $1,693,135.89.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut, to pay warrant number 15-13 for $1,693,135.89. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Ward 15-13 will be paid.
Number 12 is adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Makowski for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.